Did I turn it on right? Sorry. Maybe I don't know what. Yeah, I should do.
Everything else is on.
No, I'm sorry. What time does this end?
Let me make sure this is...
Now, this is the example I wanted to give you was the problem with this conflation. You've got a group called Men, which is talking about how good it is that the UK police are going to record attacks as a separate hate crime, like anti-Semitism, which is a very good thing, recording hatred against Muslims. A very good thing, taking that seriously. But what I want to show you is how this is conflated. Later on they say, this is the first major step in completely outlawing Islamophobia in the UK. Make dua that just like anti-Semitism, anyone who writes or says anything malicious against Islam will be prosecuted in the future, inshallah. This is what I want to talk to you about, this conflation between criticism of an idea, criticism of a far-right movement, versus bigotry against people. Huge, huge difference between them. In my opinion, I agree with the term anti-Muslim bigotry, but in my opinion, the term Islamophobia is a political term that's been coined by Islamists, by their apologists, in order to scaremonger people like me to silence and to censor dissent. The solution, in my opinion, lies in going back to basics. Citizenship rights, equality of people, irrespective of one's beliefs. Respect for people, and not for religions and the religious right. An end to faith-based initiatives that divide and segregate, universal rights, one law for all, with, of course, equal access to justice, because one of the things we're seeing are major cuts in legal aid and services for people. And of course, I think it's important to have an uncompromising defense of secularism and the separation of religion from the state. And of course, unconditional free expression. As the philosopher Roger Scruton said earlier this month, if you invoke the law at all, it should be protect those who give offense and not the one who takes it. But of course, everything is now the other way around. And to combat the normalization and legitimization of censorship, free thinkers, in my opinion, should celebrate blasphemy. They should celebrate apostasy. We're not allowed to leave Islam. We can be executed for leaving Islam in 13 countries. Then it becomes all the more important to renounce Islam publicly by groups like the Council of Ex-Muslims of Britain. This is a hashtag we started less than 2 weeks ago. It's had 100,000 tweets. And there's a lot of really, first of all, a lot of Muslims who've come out in support of this tweet, saying that I'm a Muslim, but I think people have a right to leave Islam if they want without threats. And also, there have been some really heart-wrenching stories of the issues that people have faced with having left Islam. And the difficulties of leaving a faith that your family believes in, and not wanting to hurt your family and upset your parents, while at the same time also speaking for yourself and believing what you like. When it's possible to shout one's atheism from every rooftop, then the very need to do so will no longer have the same urgency. Blasphemy and apostasy are not a denial of religious freedom. There can be no freedom of religion without freedom from religion. They're linked to each other. You can't just defend the right to religion without also defending the right of people to be able to leave religion if they want without threats and intimidation. And I think in this day and age, in the age of ISIS, criticism of religion is an essential aspect of being fully human. This is a picture of Kurdish fighters in Sinjar, which was taken over by ISIS. They kicked ISIS out and they are burning the ISIS flag. Those who consider these sort of acts, or apostasy or blasphemy, as culturally inappropriate, Western, colonialist, they're only considering Islamism sensibilities and values, and not those who resist. Here's another wonderful picture of a Kurdish fighter breaking down a billboard that had been set up by ISIS, telling women to dress in that way. This is after Sinjar was liberated. Only when we begin to see dissent, acknowledge that it is linked to our own, and defend universal values, will we be able to truly honor our dissenters, stand with them, and push back the religious right. Clearly, free expression is key in all of this. It's not a luxury, it's not a privilege, it's not up for sale, and for many of us, it is the only way that we can fight to breathe, to challenge those in power who stifle us, and to demand change. Limiting free expression is not just censorship, as Salman Rushdie says, it's an assault on human nature. Human beings, he says, shape their futures by arguing and challenging and saying the unsayable, not by bowing their knee, whether to gods or to men. In the age of ISIS, I think, this is a historical task, a necessity. I would like to end with a plea on behalf of migrants. There's a lot of things that are said about migrants. They're either they're all supposedly ISIS and jihadis. They're all here for, I don't know, to take welfare and to shop for the best welfare that's available to them. Whereas in fact, if you look at those numbers who are fleeing, they're fleeing from countries where there's war, US-led militarism, as well as Islamism. Syrians, people from Iran, people from Afghanistan. There are people who are fleeing real human rights violations. And I think it's crucial that if we oppose Islamism and the far right, if we defend people's right to live as they choose, then we must also defend migrants and refugees. In my opinion, they are some of the best in our societies because they refuse to live under conditions that are unfair, and they dream that they can actually manage to survive the horrendous journey that they have to go through in order to have a better life. There's a wonderful picture of some Iranian migrants at the border, Macedonian border, and they've got a sign, they've got all these police in front of them, and they've got a sign saying, "Do not freedom too." And that's why I think it is hugely important to also defend the rights of migrants. Thank you very much.
Well, it depends on how many questions there are, I suppose. I mean, thank you for getting through.
Sure, of course.
I think we're pretty brief to do so, just by everything that's happened. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to ask now.
Do you know, it's really funny how you're criticising Islam and you're talking about Islam so freely, but you read the Quran after you left Islam. So how do you have the courage and how do you have the audacity to read it? I'm sorry, I'm going to read it to talk about Islam so freely when you don't even, like, you didn't have the mindset to even, like, you know, to open up the book.
I'm sorry, can I just get a pen? Sorry, I'll forget your question. This doesn't work. Can I get a pen here? Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. So the audacity to talk about Islam?
Yeah, after you left Islam, you
Sure.
opened up the Quran because you said, you know, hijab is not compulsory, or this isn't compulsory, or that's not like this, Islam isn't like this. Well, in the Quran, if you had read it beforehand, you would have had all the answers there.
Okay, thank you. Yes? So shall I just do that, or I'll let,
well,
sorry, I'll let you do.
Maybe we'll do two at a time, so if you want to...
Three, yeah, please, if possible.
Or, sure.
Yeah, I think you should really also distinguish between ISIS and these extremists and Islam as a religion. I can assure you that no one in this university supports ISIS. And by the way, my dad is a convert. So he's not forced, I'm not forced to be Muslim. My parents aren't even religious. I chose to put this on. I'm the only one in my family that has it on. So I chose that. So liberation is not, I mean, I chose to do that. I'm free to do that. And yeah, you gave examples of 2 Muslim countries out of, I think, 47 Muslim countries in the world. Iran and Saudi Arabia, the most extreme Muslim countries that all of us disagree with on so many things. So that's not Islam. That's not Islam. These are crazy people. And you see crazy people, you see extremists in all religions, and you see extremists, atheists as well. It's just, so you need to, yeah.
Thank you.
One more?
My name's Bob. I'm actually not a Goldsmiths student, sorry, because people can't see me, so if I turn around.
Yeah, no.
I wanted to make 3 points. I'm at the University of East London. The first point, I thought I actually there wasn't much in what you said that I disagreed with, but I noticed that you're from One Law for All, and I had a bit of a look up before I came to this meeting at kind of what they put forward, and what I thought was sort of conspicuously lacking from what One Law for All said was saying, well, actually addressing things like the Prevent programme, like controls on immigration. These are British laws which are applied to all, but which are extremely pernicious and discriminatory against black and Asian people predominantly in this country. But I kind of leave it to you to kind of answer. The second point is about the safe space thing. It kind of came up in the discussion of it. I was a sabbatical officer at the University of Liverpool, and on occasion we had to invoke the idea of safe space. But the times we did it, there was one occasion when the British National Party, because they were running in the election to be mayor, the university management invited them to a panel at the university, and we argued as a student union, said we cannot allow these people on campus, not because we disagree with them. I think there's a very clear distinction between someone you can have a civilised discussion with. What happened when the BNP came on campus is we had to fight them. One of our students got a broken jaw. We had to physically prevent them from attacking. Well, what they wanted to do was rove around campus attacking black students. But the third, so I think there's a distinction, and I think brings me on to my third point, is actually how, for the most part, how I think white British leftists speak to like Asian people and people they perceive to be Muslim is to kind of say, well, I think this kind of happens in the political culture at Goldsmiths a bit, we'll discuss, stuff about gay rights and everything, but that's for a certain time. But when we're going out into Tower Hamlets or something, what do we want to say to people? It's like, oh, you're against the war, right? And actually just trying to address people as more two-dimensional, not having the complex ideas. And actually the serious and thoughtful Muslims that I've met are very willing to have discussions and very willing to have their ideas challenged, and it's not seen as like offensive or something that you have to keep away from them. And I think that's the kind of point we want to encourage